This video is sponsored by JP Fitness. If you're looking for any tips or advice on working out, nutrition, and maintaining a healthy body, JP Fitness is a certified personal trainer that could give you everything you'd possibly want to know. Link will be in the description, so go and check him out. What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today I'm going to talk about what could be the greatest game mode in the Halo franchise. I'm not talking about something that already exists in a Halo game. I'm talking about an idea. One that isn't too radical or off the chain. An idea that in my mind could provide some of the most dynamic, fun, interesting, and addicting gameplay we've ever seen in a Halo game. For this video, I'm going to do my best to find the right gameplay and pictures to illustrate what I'm talking about. More than anything, I want you to use your imagination to build off the ideas that I'm throwing out there. If at any point in this video you get an idea or want to share something, definitely post it in the comments. Without further ado, let's get into it. Halo Reach, Halo 4, and Halo 5. Each one of these games brought something entirely new to the table, something we had never seen before. Yet with each sequel, that brand new feature was dropped and has never returned since.
Invasion.
Invasion from Halo Reach. Dominion from Halo 4. And, Warzone. Well, there's no clip of Jeff saying it, so we'll just have to use something else.
Prepare for Blitz.
Dominion and Invasion have not returned since their initial release, and we don't know yet if Warzone will make a return in Halo 6. Each of these modes have something very unique and special. Each of them have great ideas. They satisfy a certain desire or fantasy that all Halo fans have and want to play out in multiplayer. And if we take the best things from these modes, combine them together, that's how we'll get the greatest game mode in Halo. But let's not stop there, because for this game mode, we'll take inspiration from the settings of the other Halo games and also elements from Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 1. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that a mode like this would probably be every Halo player's dream. Just tell me if I'm right or wrong at the end of the video. So let's decide what things we will take or get inspiration from in each of these elements. I don't know what I'll call this mode, but we'll give it a placeholder like Crusades. Classic Invasion in Halo Reach was revolutionary. A true Spartan versus Elite type of gameplay, humans versus Covenant. It incorporated elements of King of the Hill, capturing points in order to progress through a linear multiplayer map, and with each new round the game provided more tools, weapons, and vehicles for the players to use. That climactic run to grab the core and bring it to the dropship was always such an intense final moment in each game of Invasion. Loadouts allowed players to pick a role that better suited their playstyle, and though controversial in regular multiplayer, it worked pretty well for Invasion. Dominion had brought some pretty cool ideas to the table as well, and in my opinion, was the best thing Halo 4 had to offer. The game revolved around capturing and holding bases to earn points. The game was unique in the way that holding a base for extended periods of time would fortify it, providing automated turrets, shield doors, vehicles, and eventually ordnance drops. It was a very dynamic, fun game mode, with so many variables and different ways to play. And the last stand mechanic was pretty awesome as well, allowing players that captured all three bases to go for the insta-kill victory. Like Invasion, Dominion had loadouts, though this time they were much more customizable, for better or worse. Then we have Warzone, which revolves around capturing bases, killing AI and bosses, and the enemy team. This was the first time in any Halo game where you could fight other players online, in addition to AI enemies. Warzone also boasted a large sandbox of weapons, power-ups, and vehicles to use through the use of the Rex system. Now let's look at Battlefront 2. Conquest was about capturing command posts, which would give you additional spawn points, and if you had more posts than the opponent, their forces would diminish. You were able to select from a group of unique classes with different weapons. The game had a huge variety of vehicles, turrets, and all sorts of good stuff that you could interact with on the map. Finally, we got Battlefield 1, specifically the mode Operations, which is like a combination of Invasion from Reach and Conquest from Battlefront 2. Operations is on a much bigger scale than Invasion, and like Battlefront 2, has a lot of vehicles, weapons, and turrets for the players to use. So there we have all the good stuff laid out for each one of these game modes. But what would happen if we were to combine the best of Invasion, Dominion, Warzone, Conquest, and Operations, and make something that isn't overly complex or confusing, and would be a viable option for a studio like 343 to create? Well, let me paint a scenario. Imagine we have a map designed similar to the Pillar of Autumn from Combat Evolved. Imagine we have the Spartan vs. Elite gameplay from Invasion, those opening cinematics from Warzone that set the stage and get our blood pumping. The game starts off with a cinematic showing the Covenant drop pods blasting into the Pillar of Autumn. Both elites and Spartans will decide which weapons, grenades, equipment, armor abilities, or whatever that they'd like to use. These could either be customizable loadouts with an unlock system, or it could be pre-created loadouts, or just everything is on the map itself. The objective for the elites is to bypass, sneak through, or destroy the defenses of the Spartans and capture vital areas, or command posts that also act as spawning points on the ship. Just like Invasion and Operations, each time they do, the map opens up, revealing a new area of the level to fight in, and more powerful weapons and tools are given to each side. Imagine the map is designed specifically for multiplayer, rather than being a one-to-one recreation of the ship. The first series of battles take place in these corridors with the flanking hallways. There could be automated turrets for the Spartans, blast doors that can be opened and closed by both sides, creating new routes through the ship or shutting them down. After the first point is taken, the next objective is to move into the big, iconic hangar bay, where the elites will have to sabotage the UNSC's aircraft. This big section would be made with some light vehicular combat in mind, making warthogs, wasps, ghosts, and banshees perfect. Elites would be given the choice of being respawned in a Phantom to be dropped off inside the hangar, to be part of a Banshee strike squad that's similar to getting into a plane in Operations, or to continue moving through the ship on foot from the points they captured. The Spartans would again be tasked with defending their vital airships. If they are all destroyed, then the elites would move on to the final objective, the bridge.
The bridge. We made it. Let's get to work.
Elites would be able to respawn closer to their next objective, or move through the ship on their own. The final objective is for the elites to either breach and capture the bridge, and/or, wait for it, kill Captain Keyes.
What the hell are you doing?
In this scenario, the scoring system would be similar to Reach, with each team playing both sides and seeing who does better overall. If the elite forces run out before they kill Captain Keyes, they lose that round. If not, they win. Now all of that sounds pretty freaking awesome, doesn't it? But it gets even better. Imagine we incorporate the best parts of Dominion and Warzone into this. Imagine as a Spartan you have some allied AI Marines backing you up. A sergeant that is more powerful than the others. They got different weapons, equipment. You start in an armory where you choose which weapons you want to use. You've got the ability to create defense turrets in certain areas, establish shield doors with limited health. Imagine you're in the shoes of a Spartan, defending the Pillar of Autumn. Imagine as an elite you've got squads of grunts and jackals, maybe a pair of hunters assaulting the ship with you. Maybe you get AI reinforcements every couple of minutes. Imagine you can deploy Covenant shields or barricades. I mean, just think of all the awesome possibilities you could create if you were a developer designing this type of map in game mode. Imagine when you fight Captain Keyes in the bridge, that he's like a hero unit or even a boss that is pretty hard to take down, similar to Warzone. With this type of game mode, the developers could create some of the most interesting, dynamic, fun gameplay we've ever seen in a Halo game, and give the players tools to forge these maps themselves, like the forged versions of Invasion we saw in Reach. Crusades could even play out events in some of the expanded material, maybe add just a little bit of story like the Operations do. Context for these huge battles would just be amazing, and would add on to the lore of Halo. Let's imagine another scenario. Imagine the attack and defense roles are switched. Take this scene here from Halo 2. Imagine the opening cutscene shows the Spartans getting into drop pods and dropping down onto the Halo ring. The beginning area is based on the opening of Delta Halo. Spartans must now assault the base and secure a landing zone for reinforcements, vehicles, and new weapons. The same type of linear progression from Invasion applies here. The Covenant could have AI grunts and turrets, jackals with carbines on the ledges, all sorts of creative defenses and vehicles. After capturing the first point, the Spartans are given vehicles and more weapons and must attack the bridge controls, secure it, and open the bridge, which leads to the final area, where the goal is to destroy a scarab that is under repair. If the Spartans destroy the scarab before it's repaired, they win automatically, like destroying the core. If not, they'd have to fight the scarab with air vehicles, try to board it, shoot its legs. It would be like a behemoth in Operations. Imagine piloting a scarab in the multiplayer of a Halo game in a huge wide open area. See, the beauty of this Crusades mode is that you can use any famous scene you want to or setting from the Halo games. or create something entirely new or something from the books. And when the developers create these maps, they can still use specific sections of them for regular multiplayer. Kinda like how Battlefield 1 maps from the operations have sections that are played in normal Conquest and other modes. So the effort put into creating them wouldn't be for just a single game mode. All the different game modes could be applied to some of these maps. 343 wouldn't have to use just stuff from the old games, but could create entirely new areas as well, based on whatever happens in Halo 6 and what happened in Halo 5. Imagine a map on, saying, Helios that plays like what I've been describing. Now, I could come up with so many different scenarios that would play out in this Crusades game mode, but at the heart of it all, what I envision as the greatest game mode in Halo is one that creates a feeling of large-scale war, with AI companions and enemies, command posts, power weapons, big vehicles, behemoths, air support, and things to interact with on the map. A mode that allows you to pull out all the stops, that combines the best elements of Invasion, Dominion, Warzone, Conquest, and Operations, and allows players to re-experience the iconic moments and battles of the Halo franchise in a multiplayer setting. Now, creating this type of experience for each map would take a lot of time, effort, thought, and resources, but the payoff is a game mode that has so much replayability. I've honestly spent days playing Battlefront 2's Conquest, Battlefield 1's Operations, and Halo Reach's Invasion, and that's something I would never get tired of if done right and with enough variety. Of course, there could be easier to make variations of this type of game mode, kinda like Invasion Slayer, something that adds more variety without being a serious investment. And that way the really awesome maps wouldn't be played to death, and there could be variations with AI bosses more akin to Warzone. You could probably use them for Firefight as well. Now, I think there could be a really cool way to incorporate some sort of bonuses in the game. This might be the only far-fetched piece of the puzzle, and Crusades would work with or without it. Quite honestly, these could be a sort of kill streak or point streak or whatever. Could even be like Counter-Strike's store. But let's say you capture a point, kill 10 guys or something. What if you could then call in an additional grunt squad, or a brute chieftain, or a more powerful variant of a weapon? Could even be like a bubble shield or some kind of shield buff. Endless possibilities in a Halo game. Imagine you're fighting in this big hangar and a dropship flies in, then 2 hunters jump down and start messing up the place. How freaking awesome would that be? This certainly could work and could even be its own game type and even a successor to Warzone. We'd call it Warzone Crusades. Doesn't that sound badass? The gist is incorporating the idea of in-game rewards for players that do special things, and allowing the power-ups and rewards to be utilized in unique ways, which adds a lot of replay value. Honestly, there's just so much potential with this idea, and it is just an idea, but if made a reality, it's probably all I would play. There's so many different scenarios and fantasies that could be played out and be so goddamn awesome. One thing I want to stress is that the gameplay would not and should not be monetized in any way, because with a monetized system, the developers would be forced to sap the creativity of that design in favor of a design that makes money. So instead of giving players weapons through the rec system across all of the maps, regardless of which side you're on, imagine more unique, creative in-game ways to provide those weapons, vehicles, to the player. Think of how vast the Halo universe is, how many pieces of technology there are on all sides, and how that can be created in a multiplayer setting. So it's not that you're opening rec packs and bringing in consumable one-time burn cards for each map. Imagine that the map provides those things for you. Whether they are placed on the map, whether they are dropped off by a Pelican, Phantom, Ordnance drops, or whatever. That way you could truly let your imagination and creativity run wild as a developer, and everyone would have a chance to learn the map, learn where the weapons are, and learn how to use them. Of course, I could go on and on and on about different maps, scenarios, and all other sorts of things that I've been playing around with in my head. And I want to bounce these ideas in this video off of you. Let me know what you think. Does this sound like something incredible, something that you'd want to see, or does it sound too good to be true? What are some fantasies or iconic moments that you'd like to play through given what I've talked about so far? Whatever your thoughts are, post them in the comments below. I'm eager to read what you guys have to say. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and follow me on Twitter if you'd like to interact with me, send me messages, or just talk shit. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!